Hey everyone, this is Raja from Charger Games and welcome back to another new video. So in this video, we're gonna learn how to make your very first Android game using Unity. This year as well, Unity has made some changes and I'm gonna show you how to set up for Android and build your own Android game with the latest version. Now before doing the setup process, let me show you what you're gonna be building at the end of this project. So as you can see here, we have a very simple game. I'm going to click on maximize on play and I'm going to click on play. And you will see here we have the balls bouncing and we have to simply tap on these balls to shoot the balls and destroy the balls. And it's pretty hard because the balls are small and they are bouncing. So it's not as easy as it seems. So let me try and destroy the balls. Now this is the best part when you make your own game and you cannot play it yourself. That's really awesome feeling. So this way, when you destroy the last ball and destroy all the balls, you can see this "you win" message on the screen and you can simply click on this restart button and it will start playing again. So this is how the final game will look like. So now that we have seen what you're going to be building, let's get started building our first game. So as always, we're going to be using the Unity game engine for this as well. So let's go ahead and download and install Unity. So I'm going to go to Google and search for download Unity, or you can simply go to unity3d.com and download Unity from there. As you can see here, we have this download option, and from here, if you don't have an Unity account before, you can go ahead and create a new account on the website, because when you will register for Unity, you will need a license, and for that license you will need an account. So from here you can simply click on download Unity Hub. Unity Hub has made things very easy for us. So you need to simply go ahead and download this Unity Hub and then you need to install it and everything will be alright. So in my case, I have downloaded the Unity Hub already, and as you can see here, we have my Unity Hub opened. And here, as you can see, we have this projects tab, this learn tab, and this installs tab. So you need to go to this installs tab. Here you can see all the different versions of Unity that are installed on your computer. So here what I'm going to do is I'm going to simply click on add and it will show me all the Unity versions that are available for me to download. And if you want to download the beta or alpha releases, you can do that from here as well. So you can simply select the very first one, which is the latest one, and then click on next. And now it will ask you to add the required components to your Unity version. Now since we are building it for Android, so we must install this Android build support option. And while selecting this Android build support option, you need to make sure that you check this Android SDK and NDK tools as well, because without that it will be very hard. Now Unity has made it very easy for us to set up, so we don't need to do anything manually. We need to simply check this Android build support and this Android SDK NDK tools and everything will be installed by default. Then as you can see here, since I have already installed, so the Visual Studio is not showing up. But in your case, if you're installing Unity for the very first time, you need to install the Visual Studio. So you need to find the Visual Studio from here, check it, and then click on next. And after that, it will ask you to simply read and agree, and which you have to do, of course, because you don't have any option. And then it will simply go ahead and install Unity on your computer. Okay. So as you can see, this version is getting installed. So I'm going to go ahead and cancel that or do anything I want. And once you have the Unity version installed on your computer, go ahead and open it. And then we're going to start building our game. So now we need to go to this projects tab. And from here, we need to simply click on new. And it will ask us what kind of project we want to create. Now in this case, we want to create a 2D project. So that's why we're going to select this 2D one. If you want to create a 3D project, you can select this 3D. Then from here, you can give it a name. Let's name it Android Game Test. And then you can select the location where you want to save your project. I always save my Unity projects in this location, but you can save it anywhere you want. Then you can simply click on create and it will create a new project for us. So let us wait for it. So as you can see here, Unity has finished creating a new project, and this is how the new project looks like when you open it for the very first time. Now in my case, I don't really like this kind of layout. So what you can do is you can go to the top right corner and instead of default, you can simply click on this 2 by 3. in this 2x3 layout, we can see the scene view and the game view both together. So the scene is the place where we create the game, and the game view is what we see through the camera. Okay. So now what we need to do is we need to convert it to an Android version. As you can see, currently it says PC, Mac, Linux standalone. So this is what platform your game will be when you open it for the very first time. So now we need to go to File, Build Settings, and as you can see here we have this Android thing. Now if you have not installed the Android build support while installing Unity, then you will not see this option. Okay, so make sure to install the Android build support, otherwise you will not see this. Let me go ahead and show you one more time. Let's say here I have my installed versions. So what you can do is you can simply click here and click on Add Modules, and from here you can simply select this Android build support, and even if you have not installed it before, it will install it from here, and then you will be able to do anything that you want with Unity. So now you can simply click on this Android and then click on Switch Platform. Now this is really essential, otherwise you will not be able to build for Android. You can do this step after building this game, but you have to do it at some point of time. So let's click on Switch Platform and switch the platform from PC to Android. So now the build target of our project has been converted to Android. As you can see the Unity logo next to Android now, and here as well you can see the Android. That means currently Android is our build platform. So now as you can see in the game view, free aspect is written. So from here we're going to click here and we're going to select this 16:9 portrait. And this is the resolution for which we're going to build our game. Alright. Now as you can see here we have our scene already saved as sample scene. You can go ahead and rename it to game and reload. So now the name of our scene is game. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to expand this game from our hierarchy, click on main camera, and for the clear flags, as you can see, probably in your case skybox may be selected. You need to select this solid color, and for the background color you can give it a nice orange light color or any color that you would like it to give. I think I'm going to select this color because it looks good, so I'm going to keep it here. So now we need to add some balls to the game, and also we need to add the boundaries in our game. So to create the boundaries, first of all I'm going to go to this assets folder, right click, create a new folder, and I'm going to name it sprites. And inside this sprites folder we're going to keep all of our 2D sprites or 2D images that we're going to use in our game. So inside this sprites folder I'm going to right click, create sprites, and then I'm going to select this square and I'm going to name it boundary, I think. And this is the square that we're going to use to fill our whole game boundary. So now I can simply drag and drop this boundary in our hierarchy like this, and now we can simply go ahead and edit the size of this square. Let's say I make it smaller like this, and for the size, let's say I'm going to give the X size to 10. So now that we have created our first boundary, we have to give it a feature so that our balls can collide with the boundary. Currently this is just a 2D image, so we need to give it a wall so that our balls can collide with it. To do that, I'm going to go to this add component, and from here I'm going to go to physics 2D, and from here I'm going to select this box collider 2D option. So now as you can see, if you zoom in, you will see that here we have a green outline. If I click on edit collider, you can see here we have a green outline, and this means this is a wall-like collider which will enable this one to collide with other objects in our game. Alright, now let me go ahead and change the color of it a little bit. So as you can see here we have this sprite renderer property. From here we're going to select the color and we're going to make it, I think, a little bit something like this. Of course, you are free to give it any color that you want. I'm just giving it as I'm feeling right. So now I'm gonna select this tool and then I'm gonna move it onto the top of our screen like this. As you can see, now the boundary has moved to the top of our screen. Now I'm gonna right click and click on duplicate, and as you can see, now we have the second boundary. I can simply go ahead and move it like this, and let me unmove it by pressing Ctrl Z, or I can simply go ahead and change the Y position to minus 4.89 and it will automatically be on the bottom. Okay, now let me go ahead and duplicate it one more time. This time I'm gonna move it like this. Then I'm gonna simply go ahead and change the Z rotation to 90. And now as you can see, our square has been rotated by 90 degrees. I can simply drag it to move it on the right side of our screen, just like this. Alright, now the same way I'm gonna right click and duplicate this one, and this time I'm gonna change its X position to minus 2.68 and it will be exactly on the opposite side of this boundary. So now we have all these 4 boundaries set up. Now what we can do is we can create our new ball object and add it to our game scene. Now here inside the sprites folder, you can see I have this small image of a ball that I have got from kenny.nl website, and you can get any image of ball from the internet and then you can use it. So I'm gonna drag and drop it in our hierarchy like this, and as you can see here we have our ball and we can move it like this. Now we need to add a collider to our ball as well. So I'm gonna go to add component, physics 2D, and this time you're gonna select the circle collider 2D, and let me find where it is. So here we have this circle collider 2D. So the circle collider is for the circular objects. Okay, now what we need to do is we need to add a rigid body object to this ball. So we want our ball to be affected by physics. So Unity has some default things that handle physics, and if we want Unity's physics engine to handle the physics of this ball, then we need to add the rigid body 2D element to this ball. So we can simply click on add component, physics 2D, and then we can click on this rigid body 2D. So as you can see, now we have this rigid body 2D component attached to the ball. So now it has all the physics properties. And as you can see here, we have this gravity scale set to 1. That means now the ball will be affected by gravity. And you can see that whenever I click on play. So let me go ahead and click on play, and you will see the ball gets affected by gravity and it falls down. Alright, so now the gravity of the ball is working. Now we need to make the ball bounce, because when the ball falls down, of course we want it to bounce. So to do that, I'm gonna right click here and create a new physics material 2D, and I'm gonna name it bounce, and I'm gonna set the friction to 0 and set the bounciness to 1. That means now it will bounce for endless time. Now you can select the ball, and as you can see in the circle collider 2D, we have this material slot, and it is waiting for us to drag and drop a physics material 2D here. So I'm going to drag and drop the bounce material right here. And now you will see when I click on play, the ball falls down and it keeps bouncing. So this is really cool. So finally we have at least added a little bit of behavior to our game. Now what I want to do is I want to make the size of the ball a little bit bigger, because otherwise it will be very hard for us to tap on the ball and destroy the ball. So let me go ahead and make the scale 3, and believe me, I was playing it in 2 and 1 and it's really hard. Even in 3 it's really hard to play this game. So I think I'm going to keep it 3 for now. So let's name the ball ball1, and this should be okay. Now we need to write a script and attach it to the ball so that whenever we click on the ball gets destroyed. Alright, so now inside the assets, I'm going to create a new folder and I'm going to name it scripts. Now you can simply create the scripts anywhere, but it's always a good idea to stay organized and keep everything in the folders so that your project stays organized. So inside the scripts, I'm going to right click, create a new C# script, and I'm going to name it ball. And you have to name it exactly when you create the script, otherwise it will not work. So make sure the ball here and the ball here both are same, otherwise it will not work. So now I'm going to select the ball1 and simply drag and drop the ball script on here. Alright, so now the ball script is attached to our ball game object in the scene. Now I can simply double click on this ball to open it in Visual Studio or any other code editor that you have selected here. So as you can see here, we have our script opened in Visual Studio, and let me make the font size a little bit bigger. So now we don't need, I think we don't need both of these things, but still let's keep them there for now. So here what I'm going to do is I'm going to write a new function called void on mouse down. Alright, so this on mouse down function gets called automatically whenever we click with mouse on this object. So in this case, the script is attached to the ball. So whenever we click our mouse on top of the ball, this function gets called and we can do whatever we want inside this function. Alright, and this works for the touch as well. So don't think that I'm using this on mouse down function so it will not work on Android. It will work on any touch device as well. So here, whenever the on mouse down happens, what we need to do is we need to simply destroy the ball. So here we're going to write destroy, and inside the brackets we're going to write game object. Now make sure to write it exactly as I have written, the G small and the O bigger, otherwise it's not gonna work. Okay, so now whenever the on mouse down function gets called, that is whenever we tap on the ball should get destroyed. So let's go back to Unity and see if this works or not. So make sure to press Ctrl S to save the scene or save the script. And now here we are in our Unity project. So here we have our ball. So let me click on play, and you will see the ball keeps bouncing, and let me click on it. And as you can see, as soon as I click on it, the ball gets destroyed. So that means our code is working as of now. Alright, so now what else we need to do? We need to also increase the score, and we need to add few more balls, and whenever we destroy all the balls, we need to write on the screen that you win. So now let's go ahead and create few more of these balls. So I'm gonna select this ball, right click and duplicate, or I can simply press Ctrl D to duplicate it. So here we have another ball. I'm gonna select this move tool and move it right here, and I think I'm gonna make the size about 3.5 and 3.5, and now I'm gonna select the sprite color and I will change it to something like this. Then I'm gonna right click to duplicate it one more time. I'm gonna move it right here, and this time I'm gonna change the color to, let's say, green, and let's make it 4. And then again I'm gonna go ahead and duplicate this one, move it to somewhere like this, let's say, and then I'm gonna change the color to something like this. And now you can simply go ahead and organize the different balls as you like. Let's say I move it here, I move it a little bit on this side like this. So now we have all these balls ready in the scene, and since we have duplicated it from the first ball, so all the properties of the ball like the script, like the rigid body and the bouncy material, all have been duplicated to all these different balls. So now if I go ahead and click on play, you will see that all the balls simply go ahead and jump together in the game, and now we can simply go ahead and click any of these balls to destroy them. And you can see already it's a little bit challenging, not that easy as it seems. So as you can see here, this is how we have destroyed all these balls. And what we want is whenever all these balls destroyed, we want to print "you win" message on the screen. Now another thing you can do is, as you can see, the balls are falling straight. So what we want to do is we want to make the behavior a little more interesting. To do that, I'm going to simply select this boundary, which is right here. Then I'm going to go ahead and duplicate it, then move it like this. Then I'm going to select the rotation tool and rotate it like this. Alright. Then I'm going to select the move tool again, and I'm going to move it to a position like this. So now the balls will fall on this, and they will not bounce straight, but they will bounce like this and this and this. So this will give a more random behavior to our game. Now I'm going to duplicate it one more time, and this time I'm going to simply change its X position to not the scale, X position to 3.69 instead of -3.69, and then to change the Z rotation from -1 to 3 to -1 to 3. Alright, so we need to simply change the X position from minus to plus, and we need to make the Z rotation from plus to minus. So now both of them are on the opposite sides. Now you can simply go ahead and move them by hand and place it anywhere you want. There's no problem in that, but I simply want to keep them same. So now you will see, if I click on play, the balls will fall down and they will bounce crazy like randomly. So this is not the same behavior that we had previously. Alright, so this is what we wanted. Now what I can do is I can simply go ahead and select both of these boundaries by clicking shift. So click the first one, select shift, and click the second one, and then we're going to select the color, and then we can change the alpha value and make it 0. So that means now we cannot see them on the screen, but they are still present in the screen. Okay, so as you can see, if I click on play, the balls fall down and we cannot see the boundaries, but they are working under the hood. So now we have all the balls bouncing, and you can also destroy these balls. So now we need to figure out a way to make our player win the game. Now to handle all this win and all these things, we're going to create a separate object named GameManager that's going to manage our whole game. So I'm going to click on create empty, and I'm going to rename it to GameManager. Then I'm going to go to the scripts folder, right click, create a new C# script, and I'm going to name it GameManager. And as you can see, it changes its icon, but don't worry, this does whenever you name any script to GameManager. Now we can select the GameManager object, drag and drop the GameManager script on it, and then double click to open it in Visual Studio. So here we have our GameManager script. So first of all, here we're going to create a new variable named score. So I'm going to create float, not float, we need int. So int score equals 0. So this is an integer variable, and the initial value of the score is gonna be 0. Now I don't need the start function, so let's go ahead and delete it. Now here we're gonna create another new function. So we're gonna write public void score up. Oops, not start, score up. So this is a function that will help our game to score up. So whenever we will destroy the ball, this will help our score to go up. So inside this function, we're going to simply write score plus plus. That means the value of score will be incremented. So if it is 0, it's going to be 1. If it is 1, it's going to be 2. So every time the score up function is called, the value of score will be incremented. Alright. Now we also need to check when the win condition happens. That means whenever we win our game. So to handle the win situations, here we're going to create another new function called void win. So inside this win function, we need to do and handle all the things related to winning the game. Alright, so now we need to figure out a way to call this score up function from our ball functions, so that whenever we destroy the ball, we call this score up function and increment the value of score. So for that, I'm gonna open the ball script here again. As you can see here, I have the game manager script, and here I have this ball script. So now inside this ball script, before destroying the ball object, inside this onMouseRun function, what we want to do is we want to get access to the game manager. In order to access the game manager, we need to write GameObject.find, and inside it we need to write game manager. So now it will find an object which is named game manager from our Unity scene. Alright, so now when it finds, we need to access the game manager script from it. So we need to write dot get component and write exactly I have written, because otherwise it will not work. Game manager, and then we need to call the score up function. So write dot score up. So this is the whole code that we need to do. So let me go through it one more time. So when we are writing GameObject.find game manager, what it is doing is it is simply finding this game manager object that we have in our scene. Alright, then we are simply getting the game manager script from this object. As you can see here, we have this game manager script attached, so it is getting access to this game manager script. After that, it is calling the score up function from our game manager script, that is this one. Alright, so every time onMouseDown function gets called, first of all, the game manager's score up function will get called and our score will be incremented, and then the ball object will be destroyed. Alright, so now in the game manager we can increment the value of score. So now we need to check when the score goes above a certain value. So in this case we have 4 balls. So when we will destroy the 4 balls, our score will be 4. And when the score gets 4, we want to make the player win. Alright, so here we're gonna check if score is greater than equals 4, then we're gonna call this win function. Alright, so whenever the score gets greater than 4, we're gonna call this win function, and the win function will handle all the related things that we need to handle related to score, like displaying the score or restarting the game and anything that we want. So first of all, here we're gonna create a new game object, or a new game object which will be our score text or our win text. So here you're gonna write public game object win text. So this will be the winning text, you win, that will be displayed whenever we win the game. So initially we will keep this text disabled, and whenever we win the game we will enable it so that we can see it on the screen. So inside the win function we're gonna write win text dot set active true. So that means we are activating the win text object whenever the win function gets called. So now we need to go back to Unity and create this win text. So here we are back inside Unity, and here we need to create the winning text. So I'm gonna click create UI, and from here you can either click on text or click on text mesh pro text. So I'm going to click on this text mesh pro text, and you can click on import TMP essentials. Probably in the newer versions, when you see this video, this will come by default, but right now you have to import it like this. So now we have imported the things, we have everything set up. And as you can see here, we have a text on the screen. We can simply double click to see the text. Now we need to select the canvas and set it to a resolution so that it automatically scales to any other resolution. Otherwise, as you can see, when we make the screen smaller, the text becomes like this. So we need to make the text something so that it becomes small and big along with the screen, so that we can run our game in all different screens. Alright? For that, we need to select the canvas. For the render mode, we're going to keep it at screen space overlay. So now we need to add the canvas scalar component to it. Now in your case, if you have the canvas scalar attached here already, then you don't need to do anything. But here, as you can see, the canvas scalar component is not attached. So I'm going to go to add component and search here canvas scalar and simply click on it. And as you can see, the canvas scalar component is attached. So now for the UI scale mode, we need to select the scale with screen size. And for the reference resolution, let's give it 1280 by 720. So now our UI will be designed for this resolution. And then for the match value, we're going to give 0.5. That means it will match with width and height equally. So now as you can see here, we have our text. We can select the text and let's rename it to win text. Then we're going to change the text value to you win. Let's make it capital, you win. Now we're going to change the font size to, let's say, 50. And then we can simply go ahead and change the size of the text by selecting this rect tool like this. We can select the rect tool and change the size this way, like this. And then we can simply drag it, and as you can see, the handles will automatically position it in the center whenever I keep it like this. Now you need to go to this alignment option and select the center for both vertical as well as horizontal. So now our text will be at the exact center of our screen. Then I'm gonna change the font size to, let's say, 100, something like this. And we can also make it bold, and now it looks pretty good. Alright, if you want, you can simply go ahead and change the color as well, like red or yellow or green, anything. I think I'm gonna leave it to white because that's looking pretty good in this case. So this is the win text. Now we're gonna select this game manager, and as you can see, it is expecting this win text from us. So we can drag and drop this win text in this win text slot. Now we're going to select this win text and disable it by default. So at the starting of our game, we're going to disable this win text, and whenever the game is won, this win text will be activated automatically by our game manager because that is what we have written in our code. So now let's go ahead and test and see if it is working or not. So let me click on play, and as you'll see, all the balls will fall down and bounce. And let me click on the balls. It's pretty hard, and as you can see, you win text is shown whenever we won the game and destroy all the balls. So that means our code and everything else is pretty much working. So now we have this working game where the ball falls, we can destroy the balls, and win text is already shown. Now one more thing that we're going to do, that is the last thing, is we're going to create a reset button that will be shown whenever we win the game. So when we win the game, the reset button will be shown and we can reset the game and play it one more time. To do that, I'm going to click on create UI and click on button. And as you can see here, we have a button. We're going to go ahead and go to the rect transform of the button, click on this gear icon and click reset to reset its position. Then we can change its size a little bit, and then we can drag it down like this. I think I'm going to drag it down a little more to the bottom of the game screen. Then we can select the text property and change the text property to restart. Then we can change the font size to, let's say, 50, and now it looks pretty good. We can also change the button or the text. Let's change the text color to something like yellowish. or a little bit darker than that. I think this looks pretty good and goes with the game. So I think I'm gonna keep it like this. So this is our restart button. So now we need to add some functionality to the restart button so that whenever we click on this button, the game gets restarted. Alright. So to do that, first of all, I'm gonna click on our button. And here we need to add an on-click event. Alright. But before that, we need to add our code to our game manager so that we can operate our button. So let's open our game manager. In this case, whenever we click the button, we want to reload the scene and play the game again. So in order to use those functionalities, we need to use another namespace in Unity. So here we need to write using Unity engine dot scene management. Alright. So now whenever we win the game and then we show the win text, along with that, we're going to create a new function here. So we're going to write public void restart. So this function will handle the restarting of our game. Now make sure to make it a public variable, or I'm sorry, a public function. Otherwise, we will not be able to access this from our button. Okay. So inside here, we're going to write scene manager dot load scene. And for the name of a scene, you need to simply write the name that you have given to our scene. In this case, I have given the name game to our scene. So I'm going to simply write game, and you need to write it exactly as you have written. Alright. So now whenever the restart function gets called, our game will be restarted. So let's go back to Unity and let's select the button. Now let's go ahead and click on this on-click event to add an on-click event to our button. And now as you can see, it is expecting an object. Here we need to simply drag and drop our game manager because that is where we have our functionality or the script. Now from this no function button, we're going to go to this game manager, and from here we're going to select this restart. Now make sure to create the restart a public function. If you don't make it public, you will not be able to select it from here. So now we can click on this restart, and as you can see here, we have this restart function attached to this button. So now whenever we will click this button, the game will be restarted. So let's click on play and check if it is working or not. So we have clicked on play. Let's click on restart, and as you can see, game gets restarted every time I play the game. So now we don't want to show this button every time. Alright, we want to show it only when the game gets over or we win the game. Alright, so we want to show it only when we win the game. So we need to do exactly same as we have done with our win text. We need to disable it by default, and whenever we win the game, we need to show it on our screen. So let's go back to our scripts, and below this win text, we need to create a public game object, not game manager, game object, and we're going to name it restart button. And whenever we win the game, we're going to say restart button dot set active to true. So this is exactly same as the win text. So whenever we win the game, we simply activate this button, and before that we will not show this button in our game. Now we need to go back to the Unity editor, select the game manager, and in the restart button slot, simply drag and drop this button right here. Alright, so now whenever we win the game, the restart button will be shown. So let me click on play, and the balls are bouncing. I can simply go ahead and click on them. Few more clicks, and as you can see, you win, and the restart button is also shown, and whenever I click on restart, the game gets restarted again. So we have finished building the game. So now all we need to do is we need to build it and run it on our mobile device so that we can show it to the world and give it to our friends to play. So let's do that now. So now we need to do few more things before we can build it and run it on our Android device. So we need to go to File, Build Settings, and click on add open scenes and make sure our game scene or the scene which you are building is added to the build settings. If it is not added to the build settings, then our restart function will not work and our game will not build as well. Then we need to click on this player settings, and here we need to make few changes. As you can see here, we have this default company. You can change it to name of your company. I'm going to name it Charger Games. Then I'm going to change the name of the product. I think I'm going to name it Ball Bounce Shoot. And for the icon, you can give it any icon. I think I want to give this ball blue icon. And for the default cursor, I'm not going to change it. Then you need to come to this resolution and presentation tab because this is very, very important. So here, as you can see, auto rotation is enabled by default, but we are building our game in portrait mode. So we don't want our screen to rotate. That's why we're going to select this portrait from here. Then we're going to go to this other settings. And as you can see here, we have something called package name. And you have to change the package name and make it something unique. Every game in the world should have a different and unique package name. Now, the easiest way or the most followed method to do this is to write the name of your company's website in backwards. As an example, my website is chargergames.com. So I'm going to write com.chargergames and then dot, and then we're going to write the name of the game. So here I'm going to write com.chargergames.ballbounce. Okay. And then you can give it a version name. And when you create an updated version of this game, you can change the name of this version. All right. And then here automatic has install is selected, so you don't need to make any changes there. And now we have all these things ready to publish our game. So you can go ahead and click on build and build it, and then you can run it on your device. But another thing you have to do is, now Google has made it mandatory to make a 64-bit build for your game as well. So you cannot simply upload this 32-bit only version on Google Play anymore. So as you can see, currently this ARM64 is disabled by default, and in order to enable it, you need to go to this scripting backend and from mono change it to IL2CPP. And when you change it, now as you can see that ARM-v64 is activated. Now you can simply go ahead and select this one, and now as you can see, our game will target this ARM64. Alright, so now you can simply select this ARM64 and now everything should be okay. Alright, so before we finally build it, make sure you have installed the Android SDK and the NDK tools, otherwise it's not gonna work. So you can go to Edit and Preferences and External Tools, and make sure you have this Android SDK tools installed with Unity, Android NDK tools installed with Unity, and JDK installed with Unity. So make sure you have all these things installed, or you can go ahead and add component from the Unity Hub and install it as I have shown in the first section of this video. Alright, so now that we have all these things set up, we can simply go ahead and click on build. And as you can see here, I have created a new folder named build, and inside the folder I'm gonna name our project Ball Bounce Shoot, and then I'm gonna click on save. And now you're gonna see that Unity will convert it to an APK, and as you can see, it says update or use highest installed. So I'm gonna click on use highest installed. So now as you can see, Unity has finally finished building the APK for us. So here we have this Ball Bounce Shoot app. You can simply go ahead and copy it and move it to your Android device, or email it to your device, or do anything and transfer it to your device and install it manually. Now another way we can do is, we can simply go ahead and click on build and run, and before doing that you need to make sure that you have connected your mobile device to your computer via USB, and then you can build it right here and install it on your mobile device directly. So now I have connected my mobile device to my computer using the USB cable, and I have also turned on the USB debugging mode on my mobile. So make sure you have enabled the USB debugging, as you can see here, and you need to do that from the developer options. So you need to also turn on the developer options. Also you need to turn on the install via USB, and also you need to check that you can install from unknown sources. So once you have done that, your mobile will be ready to build and run your game. So now you can simply go ahead and click on build and run, and let's rename it to Ball Bounce Shoot 2 and click on save. And now you will see that it will build, and use the highest installed. It will build, and here we have our mobile device. You will see that as it keeps building, it will come to our mobile device, and we will be able to install it on our mobile device right here. As you can see, currently it says copying APK package to device, and also here I have got an install option. I'm going to click on install, and now the app will be installed on my mobile device and it will start playing. So now as you can see, the game is going to start playing on my mobile device, and here as well I can simply touch on my mobile device and destroy the balls. As you can see, that's what I'm doing. I'm trying actually. So let me go ahead and destroy all the balls. And as you can see, as I have clicked and it says you win, I can click on restart and start the game again. So this is how I can simply go ahead and run it on my mobile device, and this way you can run it on a mobile device or give it to your friends and tell them to run it on a mobile device. So this is how we have successfully learned how to build a complete Android game from start to finish and install it on your mobile device and run it as well. So I hope you really enjoyed how to build this complete game from start to finish with me. So if you want to learn more and build some more cool games, you can go ahead and check out my complete Android game development courses and other courses where you're gonna learn to build a lot more games like 3D zigzag game, Fruit Ninja game, Tappy Ball game, Endless Santa Runner game, and 2D ball dodging game, and a lot of different games. So you can go ahead and check the links for these courses from the description of this video, and you can get them at the cheapest prices. So you can take the courses, learn a lot more like this, and build your own Android games. So thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you really enjoyed and learned a lot. So make sure to subscribe to the channel and like this video if you have really liked it, and I'm gonna see you in the next video.